Welcome back to Premier League Piss Heads, where we no another day, another lovely day that Manchester United lost. No. Um, Welcome back to Soundwaves from the Sea. I don't know. I don't probably get that out of there. Maybe piss some people off. Soundwaves from the Sea. Unfortunately, it's been a while since we've talked about a defeat. What is this like? I don't know what this is like. The Sounders' run of undefeated play since the Club World Cup has come to an end. They fall on the road to Minnesota United in a somewhat important match just for the standings and such. Sounders obviously wanted to, as the children would say, get their lick back after an ugly loss the last time these two teams faced off at Lumen before the Club World Cup took place. Was not in the cards. Was not in the cards. The Sounders, yeah, oh no, I made this joke before the in the part that I joked I'd cut out, but it's gonna sound like a Manchester United fan. I mean, if you look purely at the foot mob stats, right? The Sounders dominate the momentum graph. They dominate possession, XG, total shots, big chances. You know, you don't get a goal though. It doesn't really matter, does it?
Like a
Um,
FIFA game.
um, I guess before anything else, before you look any grander, any larger, um, to Mr. Ajax Kit, we'll go with you first. Then we'll go to Rose Bowl Hat Boy. Uh, Michael, your thoughts on this match overall? Purely this match, because obviously we'll look at it grander and if it means anything, da 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 da. But just the match itself, what took place, your thoughts on it, if you're disappointed, so on and so forth.
It was certainly a soccer match, that's for sure. I mean, Minnesota came in with the game plan and they executed it well. They do it every single time. It's not really an embarrassing loss because Minnesota's a good team, especially this year. Like Eric Ramsey has like they're a well-oiled machine, and it's not fun, but it works. But I think biggest takeaway from this game, we learned that Georgie is the best super sub in MLS. There are two, Owen pointed out in our group chat on game day that there were two times where a Sounders player should have put that game away off of Georgie assists.
And those
Is
don't
this,
happen that often. He's not a great crosser of the ball.
no, it was perfectly placed right there too. I was
That's
looking
why I was
back
so
on it earlier
surprised.
today. I was like, oh, look at that right there in the box. Nothing. But honestly, another big takeaway for me was that Obed Vargas looked tired. I'm gonna use my bad word today. Tired as fuck. For 80 minutes of this game, the boy is tired. He needs a rest. Sad.
It is sad. It was an interesting spot for them to do some rotation. And we know a little bit of that was due to did Brian call it tendonitis for Pedro de la Vega?
Ye- It's a great question. I
Um,
can look
I
at
know
He
that's
he
what
didn't bring it
the
up as an issue in the post-match presser.
I
He
thought
said
I
it
thought
as
that's what
a
the
interesting.
word on the street was.
someone of my
Um,
mentions brought it up. I know that is the issue he's been dealing with, but I think it was just to play it safe. I think
yeah.
is what Brian said.
But then
Ah,
also to rotate Danny Musovsky out in a period where you'd like to keep him going, to rotate, the choice not to rotate the midfield, um, aside from the absent Albert Rusnak. Um, it was an interesting line. When I saw the lineup, I went, hmm. And then I watched the game and I went, hmm. Um, because it
Two
went
different
about
forms of
yeah, exactly. Almost exactly how I kind of expected this game to go. Because we just talked about like I was curious because you put Osaze de Rosario in the box and you say, hey, this is a guy who can head the ball really well. That's you swing it in there and you let him go and get it. And the Sounders didn't really start two proficient crossers of the ball on the wings. Reed Vicker Whiting is not a great for what he brings to this team. He's not a great crosser of the ball. Um, and that showed. The right was way more focused on build up. I was curious about. I think when you put Ozaze in, you got to give him service, and they didn't do that.
I mean, that's a problem when you have a player as good as Reed can be and as good as Paul Rothrock are. Like I said, they're not going to create chances on the wing on their own to swing a ball in. Like if we had Jesus Ferreira playing on the outside and maybe Danny Leva starting in the middle, I think that would have been miles better as was what we had out there this
They're
game.
not going to create the goal that Pedro de la Vega did
No, absolutely not.
against the Galaxy. And that's I just feel like if you're going to commit to starting Ozaze, you have to commit to the system that makes him succeed. It's not the same system that makes Danny Musovski succeed.
No, I
True.
think that's fair. That was something that I was going to ask about because I knew that was a hot topic of discussion on match day. As soon as the lineup after Owen was like, "Where the fuck is the lineup?" It
It was
was
late.
it was
This was a late
it
start.
was
Yeah.
wondering about Danny not being in there. Um, yeah, and I understand that. So it was certainly interesting to have this match go along and not really see the surface as you guys have already mentioned. Um, well, also, what was the? Again, I pay attention to Mike's notes. What was it? It was like all eyes are on Leagues Cup on Wednesday. We're all kind of just looking ahead to Puebla, who has sacked their coach, which that's for a later discussion. Um, Yeah, it's interesting. Are like if Georgie Manungu could have a momentum tracker like on Foot Mob for throughout the year, how many ups and downs would there be? It would be funny to kind of keep track of that just with how it feels like, he has a match like this, and you're like, oh wow, like it's great to be able to have this sort of luxury. And then obviously there was a stretch earlier in the year where, well, not that much earlier, but around Club World Cup, right, where it's just like, oh well, no Georgie. No Georgie. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess my first little thing I want to go into amongst all of that is um with the midfield. I mean, this is something that we were pushing for Christian Roldan to get some rest, and then he got a little bit of rest. I mean, not too much, right? I mean, uh, is it well, you can't really do it on Wednesday in a match like that. When do you get Obed rest? Because also the regular season's winding down. We are getting towards the last little stretch here. I guess how would you manage that um going down the line? Because again, I don't we talked about it last week with the transfer window. Doesn't seem like there's gonna be anything that's coming down the pipe. And outside of Puebla on Wednesday, you've got one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Eight matches left in the MLS regular season, including the Messi boys. Totally forgot about that. Um, I don't know. How would you manage the Obed Vargas usage? Feels like we're talking about NBA and rest nights. Um, I don't know. I don't like because again, not only are you trying to win matches, and Obed Vargas, is in the 11 if you're going to try to win matches, right? But also you want to be smart with the guy, right? And if he's tired, I don't know how much of a negative that puts on him, but it doesn't certainly help you a ton. So I don't know. Is there a thought on how you'd manage that with Obed?
I think it's kind of when you start to remember how injured this team really is.
Mm,
Because my answer is you play Danny Leva. Um, I think that he's shown he's quality enough to start in MLS this season.
that's where I'd go.
And you pick a game. It's not the Puebla game, but you pick a game where you say, hey, like we think Danny will be okay next to Christian Roldan in this game. But then you start going down the list. You say like, where's João Paulo? He's not there. Albert Rusnak would be my next choice to slide him back. A line in Obed's spot, not there. Um, then you start saying, hey, can we slide Alex Roldan into midfield and put Kalani Kosarienzi at right back? Like these are the spaces you started getting to because of how injured this team is. And they've done a really great job of not showing it. They've done a great job of
Yeah.
having their starting lineup and their five subs be very strong every game. But now when you have to replace a guy, um, yeah, and probably one of the least deep parts of this team, it gets tough.
The problem with starting Obed again on Sunday or Wednesday, I'm afraid that he's going to be so gassed that he's going to be causing us to end up losing this game. I know it's not in
Mm.
his bread and butter to do that, but seeing how tired he was, even by like the 50th minute on Saturday, I was hoping there'd be some more rotation. Brian left two subs left on the bench, and he could have brought on a side of Burnell. He could have brought on Danny Leyva. He could have brought on Costa Rienzi and moved Alex in, but he just didn't. And I just think that he doesn't trust a single player other than Obit or Christian in that midfield right now. That's how it feels, at least for me.
Is that valid?
I mean, yeah.
I'd trust Danny Leyva for a game.
Oh, I did trust
For a
Danny
game,
Leyva.
I trust anyway. But if it's like, God forbid, knock on wood, you have to go a stretch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah. No, I don't know. Because like Owen was saying, at least as soon as I posed that question, I'm like, well, in my mind, it's Daniel Leva, but I don't know. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Um. So
This
no,
by the
it.
way is what when we were on that first episode saying it's gonna Josh Atencio leaving is gonna matter in
Look at us
September.
now.
That's where we are.
Josh Atencio's dad, are you still watching? We're saying good things about your son. Um. Yeah, never forgot. Well, and then it was on the wrong video. It wasn't even on the Josh Atencio anyway. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Well, and then so another. No, not another. I was gonna say another white boy. Nope, I'm not talking about white boys with those last comments. You mentioned a little bit with the service, Reed Baker Whiting. That was someone I was like, oh, hello, what are you doing in the lineup there? Um, on the left, I need thoughts on that because that it was interesting for sure. Don't know if I would have done that, but I guess if we're gonna rotate, let's rotate. I mean, Jesus Christ. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Not sure how I felt about that as soon as again, still after Owen was like, where the hell is the lineup? I think that was the first thing I saw actually was Obed, not Obed. Uh, yeah, it would be cooler if it was Obed. Was Reed up on the left. Um, what did you guys see from Reed up there? Because I know usually we're like, oh great, he's playing in Nuhu's position. Can't wait to see him not defend. Not really, not defending as much up there. Yeah, what'd you see out of Reed in Minnesota?
I thought he was still struggling. He looked a bit lost out there, to be honest. Like there were times where he got some really good balls in to De Rosario, which De Rosario just absolutely botched the headers. But other than that, he just didn't look like he fit that position at all, which I would think that'd be his best spot would be like outside midfield or a wing back, however you want to interpret this lineup. But he just kind of had another dud of a game. And he definitely looked like the weakest link out there. I mean, I know Minnesota is a very strong defensive team. They sit back and they will counter. And teams like that, we've seen Weedmaker Whiting struggle, whether it's on the wing or in the back line. But I just feel like he just doesn't look ready to be out there. He wasn't bad, just not ready.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that I mean where I go is it's just tough. It's tough when he's not in motion. He's a player that like thrives on being in motion and playing at speed, and when he has to slow down and really dissect, um, he starts to struggle. Which is what a lot of players do. It's thing that players struggle with at the high level. They don't want to stop moving and slow down. But I think that's tough, and I think that's why he will thrive going forward from left back because when he does get the chance to really step on the gas there, and push up the field, he's got a lot of room to go and run at guys and make guys make decisions. And he really struggled to make guys make decisions in this game because you're having to do that instead of like really making a guy do it at speed. You're having to force him to make a decision with his feet stood still.
And especially like watching us sit playing high and wide too. I feel like that's not his game. I mean, you said it best when he's moving from that left back spot or even from the left side, like moving inwards and like making people make decisions. When he cuts inside, that's when he looks really strong. When he essentially becomes like an outside playmaker almost, but he wasn't able to do that.
It's tough. Yeah, I was curious to not see one of the Sounders winger wingers out there. I would have been curious to see Georgie out there. I would have been curious to see Rothrock on the left, Ferreira on the right, and then Denny Leva as the number 10.
Mm.
Um, yeah, this would not have been my first choice.
Yeah, it is always. I would hate to be I know they probably turn it off, but I would hate to be the Sounder social person posting a lineup like that. Be like, let's get the hell out of here. Um, I was, there's easy kind of hit points with a match like this to kind of ask about, right? With it's a match against a conference contender. It's historically before this year. I mean, because of this performance and then the one right before Club World Cup, right? Seattle's dominated Minnesota like pretty pretty belt to ass again, as the children would say. Um, I don't know. I guess I wanted to ask you guys how it makes you like Michael said, this is not embarrassing. I think it's more frustrating than anything else, given um the chances that have been mentioned, like the Georgie crosses, which again, don't know where those came from, but how it is in effect a 6 point match, given the where the standings lie, all that, whatever. But it was interesting. I was looking down the schedule. In terms of the Western Conference opponents he'll play to round out the year, because you've still got the Miami match in September, and then I don't know why they're playing New York City as the last match of the season. I get that on the road, mind you. But the Western Conference, they only play two teams that are currently in playoff position in Austin. I forget Austin exists sometimes. And then there's another big match against Vancouver here at Lumen Field. You play, Real Salt Lake's near the bottom of the West. No, sorry, they're just outside of the playoff line. That's right. Um, there's the Galaxy again. There's oh wait, yes, no, I'm totally out of it. Yeah, Kansas City. Kansas City is near the bottom. Um, you play them, so I don't know. I don't think so. I think the point I'm trying to make and the question I'm trying to pose is how do you think Seattle has fared against, the contenders in the West this year? Because we saw that run against them against San Diego, Minnesota, and Vancouver right before the Club World Cup. But obviously things changed for the club during the Club World Cup. There was this nice run right after it, and then you play your toughest opponent in MLS. I think, yeah, in MLS since that run, I would argue, right? I guess just wondering how you think the Sounders have fared because we go back to the early episodes with Owen talking about championship mentality and stuff like that. I mean, you got to beat the best, right? There's that whole thing. Just wondering how you guys have felt that the Sounders have played these top teams in the West. Uh, Granted, again, there was that stretch right before Club World Cup where they played a bunch of them and they didn't do too well.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going back to like championship mentality, I think the strength of a really good team is to, you say a lot of times like, hey, we've seen a team play us once and we understand what it's like to play them, and then we go back another time, and we kind of understand how to unlock them.
Mm,
And so when you play a great team and you can dissect them the first time you play them and really understand how they work, that's a great sign. The Sounders couldn't do that in either of these games. Um, and then they couldn't do it the second time against Minnesota. That's what really worries me. Um, is the fact that this was not the first time the Sounders have had encountered this. Well, I mean, okay, they've struggled with this style of play for a long time. Like you remember the Timbers used to roll up to
ah,
Seattle and deploy the low block and say, "Cross it to Clint Dempsey if you dare." Rowan Torres swing it in. Um, but what I'm going to be watching is whether the Sounders can really understand how to play a team like San Diego or how to play a team like Vancouver and force them to make changes the second time because they couldn't. They really couldn't find a way to force Minnesota to change its style the second time. That's what you want to do when you play this team, and of course, it's easier said than done. But you want to make them come out of their block. You want to like draw their strikers and say, no, no, you want to come get the ball. Instead of just sit back. Um, Yeah, so that's what concerns me about these games. Is saying that hey, it took the Sounders had two shots at Minnesota and couldn't figure out how to dissect the style. Are they going to be able to do it against Vancouver? Are they going to be able to do it against San Diego? I don't know anymore.
My fear is teams are gonna finally watch this game, both games back, and be like, oh, so that's how we stop the Sounders. Which somehow during this 10 game run before this game is no one else seemed to be able to figure it out, which thank the creator, no one did. But I fear a bad team like Sporting Kansas City or LA Galaxy, they're gonna actually realize, oh wait, this is how we do it. And teams started doing that last year with Jordan Morris towards the business end of the season, where they're
Ah,
like, oh, hey, if we just sit back and let Jordan Morris try to run at us, he's not going to do anything. And I fear other teams are going to see that with the way the Sounders play. But what I really want to see the Sounders do, as opposed to like they did in this game, change their style of play and adapt to the other team. I want them to keep how they've been just play how they've been playing during that 10 game stretch. They're playing dynamic football. They're attacking doing stuff we have never seen them do, just like straight attacking and nonstop going forward. And I feel like we didn't see that against Minnesota. They, if the Sounders just keep to their style of play, they should be okay, even if teams adjust to them.
Well, I think the other thing you have to remember is that like this isn't a Sounders team that's scared of the ball. They want the ball. You saw it in that LA game. Brian Spencer was frustrated because they didn't hit their possession goals.
yeah,
They had
yeah.
70% of the ball in this game. It's because they can't do what they want with the ball. When they have the ball for more than 50% of the game, they're successful because they're able to draw the other team out because other teams want the ball too. When they play a team that doesn't want the ball, they struggle. That's why they were so successful against the Galaxy because the Galaxy also wanted the ball. They ended up with more of the ball, but the Sounders were meaningful with their possession and they were able to draw the team out and really play through them. That's where those goals came from. They struggle when the team says break us down. And that's where a player like Pedro de la Vega, and we said this the first time they played them. We said, hey, I want him to be a like a game breaker, a guy who can go and take on guys one on one and break the system. Um, that's why Georgie was great because his first step is like we've been saying, but I watch it every time and when I go back and look at it, I say like where does the system break? And it's the first step. He makes a guy miss and then the other guy has to pull and then the other guy has to pull and when they don't have a player like that, when you say we're gonna beat you with passing, they don't have the talent to do that.
And when it
Thank
comes
you
to
for that.
on the talks of Georgie, do you think that Georgie should get a start, or do you think he's still better off the bench?
He's better off the bench. I think I like I said, I would have been happiest with I really want to see Danny Leva as a number 10. I want to see what you can do when you push him up further. But if you were to say, hey Georgie, we're gonna give you a start on the right and give Paul the left, I wouldn't have been mad. I'm just curious what happens at because I think Georgie might be a 45 to 60 minute player, where you give him like you're gonna say you're gonna give this fullback like 60 minutes of hell and then we're gonna let somebody else run at him too. But I don't know. I would have been curious to see what other options looked like in this game.
Oh, okay. If you're talking about this game specifically, or like his long
Oh,
term,
well, so I was talking about in this game, but in general, if this is what
I
the
think in
lineup is gonna,
general, with how good,
he
if
is not a top two winger on this team.
no, yeah, that's where I'm like, it does benefit you to say, here, deal with Pedro de la Vega, and then fuck you, we're gonna give you Georgie Manungu, yeah, for however, like again, as a defender, I think I would shit my pants. My tiempos are clattering over in my closet. Um, but yeah, in this match, yeah, over I again, not to be the white boy hater, but I'm just not too. I've never been the biggest Reed guy. Don't get me wrong, I've got my favorite white boys on the team. I would have loved to see some Cody Baker at some point this year, but Cody Baker's in the fuck you shed, apparently. When was
Justice
the
for
last
Cody
time
Baker.
I've said this on recent episodes. Justice for Cody Baker. It was a little too white. Well, I gotta put the fist down. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah. In this match, yeah, I would have liked to see him probably sooner. Goodness. Uh thank you also for getting my point across because yeah, I was sitting here looking at the remaining schedule. Again, this isn't taking into account if they go deeper into Leagues Cup. I don't know why we're playing at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. I know that you presented the option of the other matches being played on the same day. I do not care. It is too late. Too late. But yeah, Kansas City is your next regular season match. Kansas City is poo-poo garbage. They sit way down there. They're just 3 points ahead of St. Louis, who is 14th in the conference. Um, RSL is just sniffing San Jose for ninth down there. So it's interesting. I don't know. I always, as cliche as sports cliche as it might be, I always am intrigued to see how teams um that are contenders, so to say, face off against the other contenders, right? It's not always a surefire way because there's always the potential of a Cinderella team. Um, but I don't know. I think usually it's a good litmus test. I don't think there's been too much other. I did go back and look for the tendonitis thing.
Hmm.
Nico Moreno, who I keep saying I'll get on the show one day, but I just haven't sent him that text. Was the one who said, I think during the match that Brian Schmetzer mentioned he was being careful with Pedro de la Vega, who was dealing with some tendonitis. Um,
Okay.
so that was interesting. I know Kim Ki Hee also wasn't training. Oh no, he wasn't on the bench for this match. Sorry. He was at training on Friday but missed Thursday's session, so maybe they're just getting the old man, the old
Little
man,
pro day.
keep him up, keep him upright. Um,
You know who
uh,
was in this game though? Stefan Fry.
oh, thank you.
Oh,
Should
Yes, that
should
is,
should we should we talk about the goal and the
yeah,
goalkeeper?
man, that's a good one. Yeah,
you mean
thank you
the
for,
goalkeeping controversy?
I'm gonna kill
Goalkeeping
myself.
controversy. It's not a controversy.
Post an article about it, make it clickbaity title too. Um, yeah, I mean, that is. It's like fine until that goal, and then there's this there's the screenshot of him starfish. Uh,
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy, for that.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Truthfully, I didn't see enough of this match. I was doing something. I forgot. There's too much going on. Um, but it seemed like he did pretty fine until that point. And Brian didn't, and at least in his post game comments, didn't seem super worried about it. I think the quote was basically, "We just wanted him to be able to get his head about him, get him out there, not have him collect dust on the sideline." Certainly a big spot to have you get some match action back in, given the opponent. Uh, I guess like two-parter. Do you agree with putting him in here against this club? Uh, given all the other context to it. And then what you saw from him in the match outside of, well, I guess including Starfish Post.
I mean, I think it would have been better to put him up against Sporting KC at home. Give it the whole triumphant return home. I think that would have been
Yeah.
a lot more poetic as opposed to playing against a good team like Minnesota. Just kind of get his bearings in. Otherwise, he had a fair enough game. He didn't do horrible, he didn't do great. But like that goal, I'm not really gonna blame him. It's just I think it's just a miscommunication. And the way he starfished out, I think he thought it was gonna be a header off of
Mm.
somebody in the middle. And there's nothing there. It's unfortunate to concede a goal like that, but
Yeah, I actually do agree with putting him back in here. Um,
Interesting.
like I said on the last one, I think you have to make a decision early and not put one of
Ah,
them or the other one in for part of it and then flip them. But also because of the style of game you understand this is. This is not going to be a game where he has to deal with
oh,
or a lot of guys in front of him and long creative attacks. This is a game where he's going to see the attack coming from the halfway line and have time to set it up. And I think honestly, if there was let's see, he faced what? Probably, yeah, three shots on target in this game.
okay.
Um, I was okay with putting him back in. I, because of, the whole idea of let's not like just try to flip him and whatever. And also because I didn't think this was going to be necessarily the biggest test for a goalkeeper. in this game.
That's fair. I like that.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, given the given the potential workload and then real workload of the 3 shots on target. Yeah, that makes sense. I think this is a good point. Again, this is why we do the whole fucking show. I mean, God, Jesus Christ. Sitting here like, oh, that point makes sense. And then someone else, oh, yeah, see, I'm just about
That
to tweet
also makes
fucking,
sense.
oh, crazy. Um, where was I? Oh yeah, I mean, I guess with where Seattle is at, you're fourth in the West. You're 5 points below the mighty Vancouver Whitecaps. I didn't matches played with those two, and you're San Diego. You got a match in hand over San Diego and Minnesota, but don't know if you're gonna catch those guys, considering that San Diego is 11 points clear of you right now. Jesus Christ.
Can we just
San
become an
Diego having
expansion
a
club again? Actually, I think that's the secret.
yeah, I think
Just
yeah.
expand.
Just
Seattle
I like
Sounders 2.
well, they had that.
I'm aware.
Uh,
Very
um,
aware. Andy Craven was a S2 legend.
Jesus
Andy.
Christ.
Oh my God. I haven't heard that name in a hot
How's
minute.
that for a pull?
I enjoy your Joe Linton polls more than that, but
I watched
uh,
Newcastle. I got up at 4:30 and watched him. Joe Linton
Jesus
looks just like Jesus
Christ.
Ferreira. I can confirm.
Give it a couple years,
Uh,
don't worry.
Oh yeah, give him a little bit of time. He's basically Brazilian.
he's
Brazilian, Colombia, close enough.
oh my God. Wow.
Whoa, whoa, that's not even where I was going with that.
You fucking guys. You've thrown my train of thought off.
You're welcome.
I guess to well, we've kind of talked about how they've played against contenders. I mean, I guess where does this put your like level of concern, level of feeling? I hate using the word vibe. I feel like a surfer bro. Dude, where's your vibes at, man? Um, because they've had such a strong run out of Club World Cup, which is kind of what I was hoping that it would do, right? I didn't expect. I'd say, hey, you need to go undefeated in 10, buddy. Lock in. Um,
I'm gonna clip that.
okay, that's fair. Um, you are just 1 point ahead of LAFC though in the standings, and they've got 2 matches in hand against you. Yucky, gross. And you are, in what are we in quarterfinals of Leagues Cup? Oh, we
Hmm.
are.
Yes.
Um,
Only 8 teams
so
made it through.
oh, that's right. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess where are you at with this club after this defeat and where they currently sit? All things considered, 1 point up of LAFC. Yes, you've just come off of 10 unbeaten. Um, I did see that Albert was running around, so our holy savior with the Among Us tattoo on his knee is at least active. But still, never mind. I'm not going to talk about the Among Us tattoo. Yeah, where are you at with the Sounders after this result and currently surveying where they sit?
There's a lot of teams that I go, hey man, I really hope the Sounders don't have to play them in the playoffs, and unfortunately, they're all going to be in the playoffs. Um, I go, hey man, I really hope the Sounders don't have to play Minnesota in the playoffs because I'm not confident they can dissect it, man. And I look at the thing, I see, oh hey, if the playoffs
Oh,
started
dang it.
today, who would they be playing? LAFC. Man, I really hope they don't have to play them in the playoff. Like, I think the Sounders are fundamentally a good team and they'll be better when Rusnak is back. I struggle with them against certain teams, and unfortunately, all those teams are the best teams in the league that they're gonna have to play to win MLS Cup. But that's how it works, you know.
Yeah.
And that is called analysis.
That's MLS,
Hashtag
baby.
It's
analysis.
easy to beat the bad teams,
It's supposed to be.
That's why
in
this league
theory,
is set up the way it is.
except Kansas City.
Nah.
Kansas City. Honestly, I think the vibes are good still. Like, yeah, this game was unfortunate. It sucks to lose this way, but like, I think the Sounders are not going to win MLS Cup, and they're not going to win Supporter Shield. But I do think if they keep playing the way they were before this one little blip, they will be fine. We'll make a run to the playoffs. Even if they come against an LAFC, maybe not Minnesota, but if they come against San Diego, they come against LAFC, if they come against Vancouver or the Timbers, like,
San Diego's the best team in the league. Why are we saying they're gonna be fine if they play San Diego?
hey, we beat them last time. 1-0, 1-0. We got a 1-0 win.
Ah.
Mighty expansion team taken down. Puny San Diego. Even when
But
San
sorry.
Diego teams are
I
good, they're
think they're
bad.
not going to win they're not going to go far in MLS Cup. They're going to be competitive, but they are not going to go very far, especially to come against these teams.
Sorry,
So
that whole bit was in service of something though. My question is, are the Sounders gonna lose based on having worse talent, or are they gonna lose based on the system they play? Because I know what I think it is.
System.
Yeah,
yeah,
100%.
anybody
yeah,
can walk
Yeah.
into
it's not the
Seattle and play a
talent.
low block and beat the Sounders, even if
Yeah,
you're
we
like
saw KC do that last
starting
year.
Andy Craven up front.
Yeah.
God.
It's fine.
That is okay. So I was gonna say, because sports are always a game of adjustments, right? It's always about how you adjust.
Hmm.
Um, right? I mean, like I hate that we're the football slash football show where like we use the football analogy. Like
Do it.
because I always go back to the Dallas Cowboys and their unfortunate pity of mediocrity. Like no one could stop their run. Well, of course they could be stopped because they didn't win a Super Bowl like they haven't since VCRs were a thing. Um, but Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott were great. Teams adjusted, right? All these new fads will come out in different sports, and it matters how leagues adjust. I think Michael was saying this. What if teams like goddamn Sporting KC see this and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna throw a low block at you and say fuck you, and invoke Tim Melia and body slam Christian Roldan again, and then come into your house and do that. You are going to have to figure it out. I mean, you're not. I know they're not, right? Clarify. I am aware of this. That Brian Schmetzer and everyone is in that fancy Providence Swedish clubhouse locker room and thinking, oh yeah, we're just gonna go into MLS Cup and we see Minnesota. Fuck. It's not, I need to know. I want to see how they adjust to that. And I hope that they do actually do so because I would love to go, take this show. God forbid we have to do a championship like podcast. God forbid, you know. If
Oh
it's
no.
Leagues Cup, sure, but like it's not the same. I don't know. My question though to that is what needs to change for them to change your mind about them potentially going deep or not? Like what would you need to see? Is it simply handling a low block? I mean, because I've been meaning to get this running, but like I think I've said it on the show. I want to get like a power rankings thing going for the teams in the city in terms of title.
Hmm.
I would have the Sounders pretty like one or two or 1A, 1B in terms of winning a title amongst the active teams. I think, of everybody, because we're not counting the Seahawks because preseason doesn't count, even though I love watching a fullback. Um, I think the Mariners are good, but they've struggled. They've shown their deficiencies. Everybody this past week has shown their deficiencies, which I hate. But I still think the Sounders are pretty high up there, but you know, they obviously do have an issue like we've just talked about in this episode. So I don't know. What would you need to see from Seattle in this final stretch of regular season to change our mind about thinking that they can win MLS Cup?
I mean, you said it. Performing against a low block. You do that, and I mean, we've seen the Sounders play really well against every single team, basically every team in this league, except for Messi and friends, which we'll see in September.
Messi and friends.
But the only time we haven't seen them perform is against a low block. If they can do that, they can unlock that. Hell, I might change my mind. They may make an MLS Cup run. But
Yeah,
that's
I would
only
just
if they can
go.
do that.
Yeah, I would just go make adjust because you also got to remember that this first round, when whoever you end up playing,
Yeah.
is a 3 game series. You
Yes.
have to
Yeah.
win 2 games, in order to progress. Like, and I think which is even more in terms of making adjustments when you say you got to make an adjustment. What if you make an adjustment, win the first game? What are you gonna do? They're gonna make an adjustment. You got to make more adjustments. I think it's more than just handling a low block.
Mm.
In order, especially to Like honestly, I have more confidence. Of course you do, but like have more confidence in this team to win a one-off game than a three-game series. I
Ah,
mean, which seems
That's
obvious, but
fair. Yeah.
like I think they could beat San Diego in one game. They have. I think they could beat LAFC in one game. They have. I don't know if they could beat Minnesota in one game. But like I feel way less confident in having to win two of three against San Diego. How it is. Wait, so maybe handle low block and win back to back important games. Adjust and then
okay.
adjust again.
Oof.
Honestly, I could even see it in back to back halves. Um, if you make an adjustment, they understand it, and then you come back and make an adjustment again. It could happen in one game. Um, I need to see them adjust more.
I think that's fair. All right. I know we're getting close here, so we'll wrap this up on this. What do you want to see when the lineup graphic drops, Owen? When you get that push notification, what are you hoping to see against Puebla? Because we've talked about how some players are gassed. This is also a knockout match. So if I'm putting you in, I use this. I don't know if I'm gonna use this as a title, but again, after there was the wait to see the lineup, I said, "Is Brian cooking meth?" With Reed Baker Whiting on the left, and I think Owen said breaking Brian. Uh, so if I'm putting you in breaking Brian's shoes, what would you change? How would your lineup look for Wednesday night at lovely 8 o'clock?
Wednesday. Yeah, I don't know. I really wouldn't change anything from that LA game. I talk about how much I want to see Danny Leyva at the 10 and how much I want to see Cody Baker, you know, at all. But I would really like consistency. I know you're gonna have to rest Obed. This is not the game. Rest him against Kansas City. Give the 18-year-old a pro day. Um, and yeah, like because consistency is where this team is really gonna thrive. Especially in Leagues Cup. We've seen that this team can be successful against Mexican teams. Um, the Danny Musovski way, not necessarily the Osase de Rosario way or the Pedro de la Vega way, which have all been successful, but the Danny Musovski way has been successful in back to back again in multiple games, not just once.
Moose.
Um, so I want to say consistency. I want to see Pedro de Vega, Danny Musovski, uh, and the first choice midfield, and then I know we're gonna see Andy Thomas, which is cool. He's been really strong and he deserves his flowers, even if he's not gonna start the playoff running.
Leagues Cup, Mike.
Hey, you got to remember there are multiple Champions League spots on the line here. So
Oh, this
this
is
is
true.
important.
That's right.
This is
Yeah,
this
so
is
it adds
genuinely
another
important,
layer to that.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
All we need is top three. That's all we need.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, win what, two more games? And you have a shot at the Champions League spot. Win one more game and you have a shot at Champions League
One
spot.
more game, yeah.
Two more and you're guaranteed.
I think I might have to slightly disagree with Owen on the not
Hit me.
resting Obed.
Really?
I think I just fear he's just so tired. And also, Puebla is not a good team. Yes, they
I
advanced in
have
League's
heard
Cup,
this.
but they are quite bad. I mean, no, they might have a new manager bounce, which we have to be very careful of. Every team has this. But
Ah,
they've only won 3 games in the last like 12, and 2 of them were in
yeah.
League's Cup, and they still did not perform all that great. And I still trust Danny Leyva in an off game as one of the eights. And I think like having Christian as still like that, like kind of like that deep line playmaker and letting Danny Leyva do the Obed Vargas role, I think I'd be comfortable with that for this game
Here-
at least.
Here's where I would always go on like err on the side of let's start the first choice lineup and then if we need to pull a guy, we can pull a guy. I would give Obed Vargas at least 45 minutes in this game. And then if you want, because I think as good as Danny Leyva is, Obed Vargas is a level above.
Yeah,
And obviously this understand, like you have to understand what they're seeing in practice, and what they see from him. If they believe he's fit and ready to start this game, I think he's there just because of really how strong he is. Like Christian Roldan brings a lot to his midfield in terms of line breaking passes, but the way Obed like progresses the ball, it just works really well against these Mexican teams, and not against a Minnesota low block,
that's fair.
when he's tuckered out.
I think the dream lineup for me still would be obviously The Musai up top, Pedro de Vega on the left. Give
I
me
put those
Jesus
clips in there,
Ferreira.
by the way. I hope you guys saw them.
I did.
Fucking
Thank you.
sat
That was
there and I
great.
was just like, pretty much.
But I still think I want to see Danny Leyva start. Maybe not at as one of the eights, maybe at the 10.
Oh,
Put Jesus
really?
Ferreira on the right. Yes.
Okay.
Put into consideration what you said.
Where's
Have
Paul
the
Rothrock?
first. Paul Rothrock's coming off the bench, brother.
Is he
With
now?
Georgie.
Wow. No,
Yes, he is coming off the bench
this
with
feels like an opinion.
Georgie Manungu. I
Oh,
think those two late game would be fantastic running at those playable wingbacks.
Put them
I
in
don't
the
know.
torture chamber.
wait. So if Danny Leyva's starting at the 10, who's your 8?
I'm putting, like you said, put Obed Vargas as the 8 and Christian
Oh, okay.
Roldan.
Okay. Yeah, we're chilling then.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm taking
Uh,
I'm gonna put in what
Oh,
you're
okay. I see.
taking what
Okay.
into
Okay. Okay.
consideration.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I'm agree with you. But I do think do you want to see Danny Leyva start at the 10? I just want to see it.
Sure. That'd be
And
cool.
I think, like I said, Puebla is a bad team, and Danny Leyva could maybe unlock something. We might see a different side of Danny Leyva in this game. Who knows?
Cool.
Breaking. Michael says Puebla ass.
Puebla shit.
Put it in the like corny newspaper graphic. Michael says Puebla is dookie ass. All right. Well, yes. August 20th at Lumen Field versus Puebla Leagues Cup quarterfinals. Don't complain about it being on Apple or FS1 or whatever. I don't care. I cannot control that. Owen doesn't care either. He has to get out of here. So we see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Um, just don't coach like Dan Lanning would. Don't jump in any pools. Do whatever you can to make today.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey. So where are you going to watch all of the Sounder away games this year?
Away games for the Sounders. Since Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, I was thinking of coming here if that's okay with you.
I think that's a great idea. Go Sounders. Hope we see you all here.